Welcome back to Marky RC. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing of Tamiya's vintage Ferrari, which is the 312 T3, based on a F103 RS chassis. Come probably just over 30 years old now. This particular car was the 3123 was introduced in 1978 for the South African Grand Prix. And it was the follow-on car from the standard T3. Jack Villeneuve and Carlos Reutemann, I think, were the two drivers that drove those years. And Tamiya have recreated this F1 car with a really nice scale F1 body. You get two body shells in this kit. A plastic hard ABS body shell and a Lexan, like a, I suppose, trial shell, you know, when you're racing around, and then put the main chassis on when you're racing. Tamiya has offered 3 different releases of this car over the years. The original was model number 58011, so it was number 11 of the first 100 cars that Tamiya had built. The original car had a metal chassis. You could get a few hop-ups for it because it come with a 560 motor, and you could upgrade, a 360 motor, and you could upgrade to a 540 motor, bearings, and the legendary Diplo front tyres. This particular kit is the 1991 re-release, and this was model number 49191, and this is completely different from the first car. This is all FRP chassis, and then they re-released the car again in 2018, and that was model number 47374, and that was on the F104W chassis, which is basically the upgraded version of the F103 chassis. So let's get this box open and have a look what we get in the kit. Bearing in mind this has never been opened. By the looks of it, someone's had the contents out just to make sure everything was there. So first of all, in the kit, we get Tamiya's, well, I think the best comprehensive manuals you can get. And as I've said in quite a few of my previous videos, you can't go wrong. Everything is scale. Just lay your parts out on the scale on the side and then follow each step. And Tamiya do put their parts in part bags, which they state at the top of the manual, say part bag A, part bag B, and so on, which not a lot of manufacturers do. There are a couple of others, but I always find Tamiya are the best for their instruction manuals. So let's see what we've got in the kit. First of all, front diffuser and rear wing, chrome plated. We've also got 6-spoke chrome plated front wheels. Then we've got the really wide, same again, 6-spoke chrome plated rear wheels. In the original kit you had foam tyres, and in the latest kit you've got foam tyres, but in this kit you get rubber tyres. Obviously 2 wide ones for the back, 2 skinny ones for the front, and the fronts are just a touch smaller than the rear ones. Then we've got the tyre foams for the front and the rear. That's the part I think someone's either added to. I can't remember. I'm not sure if they even come with foams. I think the prior owner maybe has put them in to use on the wheels, which is a nice little hop up. And then you get 2 body shells in this particular kit. You get a polycarbonate body shell, which is used for testing, I suppose, and when you're like sort of learning tracks, doesn't matter if it gets bashed up so much. And then when you want to race and you're in your racing mode, basically, red hard ABS plastic shell, same sort of plastic as all Tamiya's hard body shells are made of, and it's red already, so unless you really want to go to town and make that super glossy, you could in theory just put the decals on. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I've got to get some red paint to paint that one, so I might paint that and make it really glossy, or have a look at some old pictures of Ferraris of that era and see what the paint looked like and see if I can match it. Then you get a piece of aluminium, quite thick tape. That's to do the end caps on the rear wing with, because they're clear Lexan. I suppose it just makes the rear wing look a lot more scale. Then we've got 2 lots of decals, one for each body shell of all the white. You could paint it on if your painting skills are really good, but I'll probably more than likely go with the decals because they are a really nice quality, and they obviously have the red edging around them, which makes the white stand out even more. Not in the manual, it'll tell you which set of decals are for each body shell. Also get 2 sets of decals for the body shells. Number 11, number 12, Carlos Reltman and Charles Villeneuve. The manual will tell you, I might do one of each car because I've got 12 and you've got 11. It looks as though on the decal sheets you get some really nice, highly detailed looking decals, and then just a plain black one. Or you might even, without referring to the manual, you might even have to paint the black ones on the Lexan shell. Hard ABS plastic driver figure, sort of 1970s style crash helmet, and the front visor, which is, I don't know if it was actually that colour or if it's just that old, it's gone a bit yellow, but even though, pretty cool. And we've got some plastic parts, looks like some bracing, part of the upstand for the chassis. We've got the front axle, bumper mount, and some other more pieces of bracing. Pretty cool FRP chassis. And then we've got both of our part bags. We've got the rest of the rear tub of the chassis, which flexes up and down. That's also FRP. Front wing, or wing slash bumper, and the aerial tube. And then we've got our parts bags. We've got part bag A, which looks like part of the rear shock assembly. I like the, it goes to show how old this kit is. You've got the cardboard, really flimsy cardboard tops to tell you which part bag is which. That's part bag A. All nice aluminium parts, axles, and looks like the rear shock. Then we've got part bag B, tie rods, steering linkages, and a couple of axle pins, and the front steering knuckles. Tamiya's generic 540 silver can motor. No speed control in this kit. I'm assuming, yeah, I would have thought it was just at the very dawn of electronic speed controls. So I imagine they let people decide what they wanted to install electrics wise. You've got the rear ends of the rear wing, and some like mushroom washers. Part bag C, really nice ball differential that's with stainless steel rings, and all the aluminium hardware to go with it. And yeah, you do. Tamiya supply ball races for this particular kit, so there's bearings in the kit already, which is pretty nice. No plastic bushings to be seen anywhere. Which I don't understand, they did it 30 odd years ago. I don't know why they don't do that now in Tamiya kits. Do away with those terrible bushes. Then we've got the rear drive axle, really solid piece of steel with the cutout there for the spur gear to engage. Yeah, the spur gear's in that packet for that particular stage of the build. We've then got the rear wing mount, and we've also got the servo saver and a selection of the little things that pop on the servo depending on how many splines your servo's got. So not a massive kit, but I think the scale, if it's put together right and it's painted nicely, it's going to look pretty cool. I will do both bodies, like I said at the beginning of the video, because then I can have one for the shelf and I could run it in theory and get, I don't know how much these little chassis are, maybe 10-15 pound, see how much all the chassis stuff comes to, and then have it so I could run it. Never run an F1 car, the Tamiya ones. Front suspension is basically just plastic, 2 pieces of plastic A-arms that have got a bit of flex, and the rear has like sort of semi-friction rear shock. But I know from building the Mercedes C11 and the new Rothmans that you can put a CVA shock on there. And I've got loads of old yellow CVA shocks, which I'm sure I could put together a shock. Doesn't need bearings. Might put just a standard brush speed control in. I mean, it don't need to be roaring around too mad. And maybe take it to the park and just give it a run on the tarmac. But basically that's the kit all laid out on the table. So next video will be part 1 of the build video. I've done a separate video on building the differential because I know quite a few people struggle with putting those ball lifts together and setting them up properly. But I've built so many now, I seem to have the knack to get them literally super smooth. But apart from that, really nice, really well detailed RC kit. So, thanks for watching the video. Hope you like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the build one. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.